Hello! I'm too young for this, too old for that. I'm Annie Lewis, a 24-year-old actor, teacher, content creator.
And I'm Anji Gopal. I'm going to be 54 this month, Annie. But we'll have a 30-year gap again. I'm an osteopath, a speaker, an ex-banker, and a mum of 2 big boys. And this is too young for this, too old for that. Our podcast where we talk about intergenerational things. And let's face it, there's a lot going on between the generations at the moment. But before we launch into today's episode, which is all about the folding stuff, money, 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 a quick thanks to our sponsors.
A huge thank you to Wilfred's, the non-alcoholic aperitif, which has been sponsoring us all throughout season 1 and all throughout season 2. You can shop them on Ocado and Amazon, and it's a wonderful way to enjoy an alcohol beverage this summer. Check them out on Instagram at Wilfred's.
And also they've been at Chelsea, Chris has been at Chelsea Flower Show a couple of weeks ago, so there's some cool content on their pages. Now, why we're here today, what prompted this today was that we followed the wonderful Deborah Meaden, who, if you don't follow, you should follow already. And she has invited all women to a seminar about, and it's entitled, to teach women how to start investing. And
Female Invest for a free webinar to help women start investing, learn how to build a sustainable portfolio and take control of your financial future. And the interesting thing is no experience needed. So today, I grew up with the notion of you never discuss politics, religion or money.
yeah.
And to be honest, I know that sounds a bit controversial, but just in general social settings. And I kind of understand it. If you're meeting someone randomly for the first time, you're probably not going to dive into those sort of things. However, as someone who's self-employed, 24, and part of these creative industries, I've actually found through work, when it's appropriate, having conversations about money and what other people are earning has led me to make some much better career choices and has led me into stronger positions.
Mm-hmm.
I found out at times I've been underpaid and, blah, 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 blah. So
do those rules still apply about money? Now, yeah.
So
I guess growing up, I didn't think, I was working in a money environment.
Yeah.
But I didn't think, or hadn't been taught to think about money as what I was earning. I was earning mega bucks, big salary, big bonuses. But what I did with it, I didn't really know. Put it in the building society, put some in some stocks and shares, ISAs. Didn't think about it all that much. And now I wish that I'd been having conversations like the one Deborah's starting at your age, because I probably would be a lot more wealthy.
Really?
Yes.
Because to me, just hearing when you're I was just putting it in stocks and shares in the building society and stuff like that, that already to me sounds quite impressive and more educated than a lot of people my age. Because I have some friends and they work great jobs, but they'll say to me, oh, I've got no savings. I have other friends who are really financially literate. Because I think now also I've worked in education is that, I don't know, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist with a tinfoil hat, but I think sometimes are we intentionally not educating young people on money? Is it because actually we have all these kind of, we want to give children a well-rounded education, but you say, oh, you don't have to go to university. You can just go out into the world if you want to. It's a great thing to do an apprenticeship, but actually you're not making people who are 16, 18 financially literate and empowered. You're not for example, I think Martin Lewis should have a stream, a curriculum in schools to educate people just on the basics. And that should be a fundamental part of education, because you do leave and you don't really have a clue.
So that's Martin Lewis, who everyone knows and loves. And I would agree with you. And I think, I would add to that, we need to learn about the body, we need to learn about money, we need to learn about relationships and all the things that really matter. And we're not learning at school. And certainly at school, you don't learn anything about, say, pensions.
No.
And a lot of people would leave school or leave education and go into their first job and won't know anything about, say, savings or pensions. So that bit's definitely missing. So do you have a pension?
I do. Well, it's interesting for me because I do have a pension, but because again, I'm self-employed, it's not when I work, I just automatically oh, and you have this going into your pension. So I had to like actively sit down when I left drama school, really like think about, okay, where's my money going? Where's my pension going? Where's my savings going? So I've become quite, I don't want to say that obsessed with it, but I think I feel very responsible being like having like my own business is how I view it in my head for my savings and my futures.
Well, it is your own business.
Yeah. So like I've become very like, okay, like, X amount of whatever I earn goes into this pot, this pot, this pot. I've become very obsessive about it. I think maybe, and that's why I've turned my brain to it, because I feel like I have to be responsible for it, because I can't just rely on money coming in every month and it just going into its pots. So,
And are you a saving family? Have you had any advice from
I
the
think
dad?
because I'm very lucky that my family, including my sisters and my brother-in-law, we all have our own. Actually, Grace works a corporate job, but we all have our own businesses, so we're all very good at like helping each other out and educating each other. Particularly my oldest sister Jen is really good.
So you talk about money?
Yeah. So we do talk about money, and we do talk about like, okay, so where's it? Yeah, we're very open about it. I think like, and more so as we get older, because it's like we are like hustly in that sense. So it's like an open conversation. It's like, okay, what savings are you using? Da, 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 da. So yeah, I feel lucky that I have that support network, but it also makes me sit here and think, oh my God, if I didn't have that, if I didn't have that sort of education from my sisters who are 10 years older than me and my family who have had their own businesses, then
Where would you have learned shit from?
it's really scary and confusing. And also who to take right advice from.
Yeah.
What about you? What's it like in your household? Especially like raising sons.
Raising sons. Well, it's interesting. I think the boys, one of them has started, doing a little bit of trading here and there with some of his money and is interested in working in the city or in finance. So, is educating himself. And I guess there's so much more information out there now where you can decide to do it for yourself, and you can go and you can spend time, just as you might learn about how you are going to get fit or your diet. You can go and access that information that perhaps wasn't there 30 years ago so easily. So I'd say that their friends, they also talk to each other, their friends, about money. I think that's quite interesting as well. The younger one of his friends already has a business doing some reselling of clothes, is turning over a phenomenal amount of money.
Yeah. I know
18-year-old. And, so I think this idea of people having business literacy and financial fluency through that actually is sort of permeating the whole sort of influencer culture. So people do talk about money, don't they? I think in some realms much more easily. Maybe it's that they're bragging and going, oh, I'm smashed 10,000 or whatever, or I'm in Dubai and I'm doing this, that, and the other. But at least people have now that understanding of what money is, what it buys, and the fact that you probably need. Then I think the piece is, do you save? I come from a saving family, so we always put a lot of money. I think maybe again that's the refugee or immigrant sort of mentality of always having, you never know what's around the corner. So touch wood, you've got a nest egg to fall back on.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
It's interesting because with actors, you talk about money in like, not necessarily a bragging sense, but you sometimes talk about it to make sure you're not being like screwed over.
Yeah.
Like that's how I found out in a job I was being screwed over. It's like, because actors it's very almost open. I found out like with an acting job and another job, which was, a creative job, that I was being a bit like messed about with. So it's really actually in the acting community, it's like quite open to talk about your pay and things like that in certain areas.
And I think it's, the days of being embarrassed about talking about what you earn, I think we have to let that go, because especially we've got this economic setup or climate where, if you work for a company, the company's making money from your labor. If you're selling your time like we do, that's your power, and that's what you're selling, your labor. So comparing and being open with that's the power that we've got. Not quite a union, but you know what I mean, to be open and transparent.
Something like I know we weren't planning on talking about, but I think that's interesting, particularly for like as a woman in business, like having your own like clinic and everything. Is I found something that I'm still learning is I find it really hard to like justify my worth in time and money. Like I find it hard to put a price on myself. Like I had a call the other day and someone was like, so how much do you charge? And I went, And I literally couldn't say it. I was like, even though it was like totally reasonable, and fair, and whatever, but I found it really hard to like be like, no, I am worth that. I am worth that, because I feel like that's something I've had to like, I'm actively working on. How have you found that with like running your own clinic and going from like a salaried banking job where they tell you, oh, you are worth this and this is
Yeah, it's so different.
yeah,
So different. And when it's someone else's money that you're spending or that you're earning,
yeah,
it was so easy to go, well, this is what it's going to cost you to,
yeah,
to borrow money from us or for us to invest. This is what it's going to cost you, take it or leave it. And then all of a sudden, when you're the one in charge and you're actually having that eye to eye conversation with a customer, and you say, and now I'm going to charge, and it's going to cost, blah, it's much, much harder. And
because you always tell me off. You're like, "Hey, you need to like,
I know, but I've
yeah,
learned. And so shout out to Chris, who was my first sort of money mentor. Did a big program of mentorship with him maybe 7 years ago. He's an osteopath who mentors other practitioners. And this idea of, just because you're in a caring profession doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you don't have to charge for your time. And because we do this work, we don't, osteopaths and yoga teachers, which is where I started in this new phase. We don't do the work to be rich, right? We do it because we love doing it and because it helps people. But then also money, cost of living crisis. We've all got a mortgage and we've all got bills to pay and kids to put through uni and all those sorts of things, right? So selling myself short doesn't affect everybody else. So what I would say is go and look up, and I'm sure there are some on YouTube or wherever, some free or cheaper courses on looking at your money mindset.
yeah,
What does money really mean to you? And I can tell you some exercises that I've done with Chris where, you imagine this big pile of cash, big pile of notes sitting in front of you, and you sort of talk to it and you think about, what's it for? What does it mean? And for me, the image that used to come up when I look at that pile of notes is, okay, I'm going to vacuum pack it, going to wrap it right up, going to pop it there, and that's to keep safe.
yeah,
Like, that's my egg.
yeah.
Yeah. But I never really thought so much about growing the pile of money. It was always about digging it in, putting it in a hole, keeping it somewhere safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And so to see that and to think about where that comes from, and is that what you really want? And, what would it feel like to grow it? Does it feel greedy? And also as women, right? So
That's what I
we're
think
not,
is interesting.
we're not taught to appreciate our worth.
That's exactly what, because I was like, that's my biggest kind of conversation I'm having with money at the moment is like, oh my gosh, this is like a new phase of my life where I'm having to like charge people for my work.
Mm.
And I find it so uncomfortable. I didn't realize it was a part of me I find so
Oh, we
uncomfortable.
have to practice.
I know. And it's really like,
Just practicing
yeah.
asking. So anyone out there, and I know that I've had conversations with quite a few of you that are listening about this. Yeah, if there are other people charging more than you, why aren't you charging? Everyone that we know are good people doing really good work. So yeah, find
Yeah.
that right thing. Right. So we talked a little bit about, and I'm going to go and watch Deborah's investing seminar. Actually, I'm really interested, and I think she's great, and we love her. We'd love her to come on the podcast. So Deborah, if you're watching, please come. We'd like to talk to you about a whole heap of things. Now, so we've talked about maybe investing, talked about whether we save, our attitude to money. Are you a spender or a saver? So I'm probably more a saver. What about you?
I think also, I mean,
Actually, what I think.
I think, to be honest, like, to be really frank, like, I'm 24 and like, other than myself, I don't have other responsibilities. Like, that's the reality at my age. I don't have kids. I don't have like I have a boyfriend, but I'm not paying for him or for anything, So like, I only have to like run myself right now. So I'm really good with my saving. Like, everything I earn, a proportion of it goes into savings.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Okay.
I'd say 50-50, but then I did just buy this top on Vinted. And my biggest weakness is I love clothes.
She really
I
does.
love
She really does. Have you ever seen her in the same thing twice?
love clothes.
Neither.
I love clothes. And that, I will admit, is my biggest weakness. I literally like,
How much do you spend on clothes a month?
I don't really know.
Average.
I honestly don't know. Because also, what I will say is I'm quite good and savvy, is what I will say. I am a vintage person. And I'm also got into a really good habit if I buy, I try and then put on Vinted, or or like this weekend I'm giving like clothes to a women's shelter, and like I try and
clear out as well.
so I'm trying to do this whole like
What's something clothes you've ever spent money on? The thing that you've most a thing.
this is quite tricky. You go first.
Oh, mine.
Yeah, because yours is gonna be like a house or a car or something.
It can't have a house or a car.
Okay, so ignore the house or car, like a
Yes.
material object.
Material object.
I need to think of mine.
Probably holidays.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
holidays. So let's put that aside.
yeah, like holidays aside, because that's always going to be a chunk.
I bought a pizza oven from Italy for my 50th birthday,
That's really nice.
and it was about £3,000. I hope my ex isn't listening. It was about £3,000, and then because I got the sizes wrong and I'd measured, I thought the measurements that I'd written down, I thought they were the outside of the pizza oven, and they turned out to be the inside of the pizza oven. So the pizza oven is literally as big as the sofa. So then I had to pay.
Oh God, and I've not seen this.
So then I had to pay a man to build a big stone thing to put the pizza oven on top of. So yeah, that was like the latest things I'll just come on then.
I don't think, to be honest, I've not spent I've had things like bought for me by my lovely family for birthdays, thank you. But I've not personally bought something like that huge yet in my life.
Like a handbag.
Oh, I can tell you something off the top of my head. I went to Bicester Village this weekend. I'd just been paid.
Again?
Yeah. Well, no,
You went
it's different.
month.
No, this was different because I got invited by a brand to do some filming. So
What she said.
it was a work trip.
Yeah.
It was a work trip.
More than you earned?
Yeah. Well, I got gifted some lovely jewelry from Dandy Gallery because I'm doing a reel with them. Lovely antique shop, really nice. But I went into Ganny and there was a lovely blouse and it was love at first sight, and I saw it and went that, and it's right here in my bag.
And how much?
Okay, it doesn't look like anything when I bring it out. Okay, I hear you.
Put it on and we'll add a photo somewhere.
Yeah, it is all crinkled, but this lovely, lovely, weighty, beautiful blouse was reduced to £142. So I spent £142 on a blouse,
But then you spent £8 on this one, so that's 150.
So basically,
houses.
I'm Martin Lewis.
House, yes. Well, you are Annie Lewis, Annie Martin Lewis.
I did walk away going like, that's a lot of money on a blouse. That's a lot of money on a blouse. I'm going to wear it forever. And
How much could you sell it for on Vinted?
What, that blouse?
Yeah,
I don't know that blouse. I look like Princess Diana in it.
She loves Princess Diana.
I do. Watch me put it on and I'll just be like, all right. And I'll just stare at you longingly from the side, like, you know.
Oh, he really does love Princess Diana. I won't tell you what she just told me about Prince Harry, though, because that was... No, we'll save that for a little. Make sure you sign up to the Instagram.
Just read his book and Elizabeth Arden. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Where are we at?
If I gave you £5,000 now,
Oh,
what
okay.
would you go and buy?
What I go
In
buy?
West End. What would you go and buy?
Okay, well, I would not to be like...
Or would you spend it?
No, I'd put some of it in savings immediately.
How much?
I put 10% in savings.
Okay.
So I put 10% in savings. I try and not spend it all in one go. Oh, to be honest, I'm not just trying to say this to be sensible. I wouldn't spend it in one go because to me, that's like £5,000. That would take me like, a chunk of time to earn. So I'd probably be like, I would probably, if I was doing, I wouldn't spend it in the West End. I would put it towards holiday.
Okay.
Immediately, I'm like, holiday.
You'd book a holiday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What would you do if you just had £5,000?
If someone gave me £5,000 right now, a man walked in and gave me £5,000.
Yeah, and just said,
I would
here's a little extra £5,000, whatever.
put probably 500 quid. I'd give the boys £500 each
That's nice.
because they would love that. Or I'd go and buy them something from Palace. I had a little windfall a couple of years ago. Palace is a really cool clothing brand. And everyone loves a Palace coat.
God, you're such a boy, Mum.
Palace coat. So I'd either go and buy them £500 each. Probably I'd give them £500 each. Then I'd put, how much have I got? £5,000. Then I might put £500 or £1,000 in a charity.
Oh,
because if it was free money, that I would do that.
good of you.
And then the other three,
I sound bloody horrific.
the other three, I would go to Liberty's Jewellery Hall and buy one of those things that we tried, like all those things that we tried on the other day. That's my super happy place. The one place that makes me genuine. Well, lots of places make me happy.
Anji loves that place.
I love jewellery.
I think if I was just gonna like spend it on like some fun, I do love like I love a handbag. I do like a handbag. You know, like you know when you get like like a bag.
See, I've gone through my bag phase.
I know you can get
Like, I'm not bothered about that at all.
why she's not
I've
giving
got
this
the
to me.
Osprey ones, the old ones, old style ones.
Have you ever pretended you could afford something you couldn't? Oh, interesting. I have. Or pretended you couldn't to get out of something. So have you ever pretended you could afford something you couldn't, or pretended you couldn't to get out of something?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess
Yeah.
there's that pressure when you go out with people. I think and
Yeah.
you're out for dinner or something like that, and
Yeah.
the drinks are flowing, and all of a sudden the bill is
I've 100%.
£5 million.
Yeah. I've got that position.
That's probably what I would, um,
Yeah.
bite my tongue and yeah, just spend the money. But I think I can't afford it. No, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Where you pretended you couldn't get out. I've never like used it as an excuse and it's not been like
Yeah.
sincere. I might have like, but we usually, because my mates are all in our early 20s and a lot of them are creatives, we're usually all a bit like, oh, should we just like do a picnic or drinks to save money? And like, do you know what I mean? Like we're all like kind of in a similar position.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you about something in bad old days, right? This is probably 1995, 96, something like that, before you were born. And when you were born in 96.
No, I was born in 2002.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, so 1996, and we'd all graduated and we were all in fairly good jobs, and we used to live around London, and we used to go out for dinner, and there was a whole gang from university, and we used to hang out, and on a Friday, and we were, you know, we went out quite a lot in those days. And I remember once we went to this restaurant called Bank, and it was on Aldwych. It's something else now, it's on the corner, and it was really smart and really fancy.
Sounds like a plot of a TV show.
And so there was a table of, I don't know, 6 or 8 of us, 6 maybe, and then a couple of other people piled in because it was Friday night, so everyone would find out where everyone was, and by the end there were maybe 10, 11 people, and we probably would have drunk champagne because we did, and sushi and all the stuff. And then everything else, the cocktails, the works, and then at some point some wag said, "How about credit card roulette for the bill?" Have you ever done that?
No,
Is it a thing still?
no, it's not in my friend group. I know it seems like I'm very like rah rah, but like my friends are very normal, grounded people. We would never do that to each other.
And there was a credit card roulette.
That just would never, no way.
Happily, neither me nor my ex, Mark, were done in, and then it got down to 2 people, Sean and Jim, and one of them said to the other, "Come on, let's just split it."
Yeah.
The other one went, "Nah," and then one person had to pick it up. So there you go, credit card roulette. What is out, youngsters?
But it's like nowadays, it's so you like when you live with people, you have like an app so that if someone's bought the toilet roll, you can pay them back. Really? So yeah, it's so people are so respectable now. Like oh, it's like like oh, I bought you know like can you pay me back for the water bill or something like that. People do that. They have it like an app and literally and it's quite easy because then you don't have to chase each other. And like I think it's like I don't know, my friends were all very good at like you either buy rounds and you just split the meal 50-50 or like, I'll treat you to this because you got me this. Like when I went on holiday with my mate, we did a lot of that. Like, if we were people are quite respectable, but I'm not moving in like those finance circles.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite interesting. Like my friends are quite like they're either actor creatives, in that case, all hustlers, or they're very normal, like doing very normal grad jobs in the city. And so no one's, but it does. I remember I went on a date with a guy who was a bit like, who would have played credit card roulette. And you are sat there and you're like, fuck, it's really interesting. Sorry, it's gone. But you are like, this is so different. Yeah, bleep that. But you are like, thank you, Mike. But you are like, this is really interesting. Like you're a completely different.
It's a different psychology.
Yeah.
It's a really different psychology. So on similar sort of note then, do you like people who are generous with money or tight with money? Which
What do you mean, like when I like people, like dating them or like?
So I think one of the most attractive traits in people is generosity.
I agree with that. I think it's like when I say people who are tight with money, I don't mean people who are like genuinely like struggling with money, I
Yeah.
think it's like, I mean, I don't know. I've been in this position before. You know, when someone's like, "Oh, could you pay me back that £1.50 because I got you a bottle of water from Tesco?" And you know, you're just like, really? Like, and then there's also me trying to judge someone if I know they're tight on money. Absolutely not. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're just like, there's some people who you like, you know, they don't need you to pay you back £1.50. They'll be okay. And you're just like, really? Really? Whereas I wouldn't think about that. But not, you know, like, and I'm like, I think that's what I mean. Like, I think it's like, I don't expect a guy to love bomb me and buy me a Gucci handbag and me to be like, oh, he's so generous. Like, I think it's like, it's little things like, you know, buying around at the bar, or like, you know, like when I went on, I'm seeing a guy, as we know, when I went on my first couple of dates, he like bought me some flowers and I was like, that's lovely. I think that sort of generosity, really nice. And just not being like, you know, even with mates, you know, it's like they're a bit, when it becomes awkward.
The person that is the last to go to the bar.
Yeah.
And like you always know, and you always know, and everyone knows that that's that. Like, so for me, that generosity, it's not just about money, actually, it's a generosity of spirit.
I think it's,
And I find that one of the most attractive traits and qualities of people to be around.
because I think,
So, you know, whether you've got £10 in the bank or £10 million in the bank, I mean, okay, maybe not £10, but you know, you can afford to buy someone a drink, or you can afford to buy, you know, it's about the, and then it comes back to the money mindset,
it's in
actually.
proportion to what you obviously are like earning and things like that.
Mm.
But I think it's like you say, like, even if it's just buying a mate a drink or something like that, like, I try and be like quite generous with that, you know, like with, I try to be. You can't obviously like, it's in with proportion, but I think, you know,
Yes.
and not making situations awkwardly unnecessarily awkward.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I don't know.
So I think that comes back to the learning at school, what you think about money. What's it for? What, you know, what does it mean to you? And remembering that all of these things, you know, health, pain, money, relationships, a lot of the attitudes that we get come from our family and our parents. And, you know, sometimes that's quite a closed group. And so actually to have the widest possible input, and even to have these sorts of discussions in sixth form or at school or whatever about, you know, what's money for? Not many people think about that.
And also like what sort of life you want, how much money you'll need to have that sort of life as well. Life is getting more and more expensive as like life goes on. We're in a cost of living crisis, and I think something that's really interesting that I've got to say, I think, because I was thinking about it during this episode, is like, obviously, like, I had an amazing upbringing, like, went to a fantastic school. So, like, my perspective of money is going to be totally different to a vast majority of people in the country and their perspective on money. But that also makes me, you know, feel that much more passionate that therefore we should educate a vast majority of people. If I don't feel like I've got that much of an education, I went to a great school, have a really financially literate family, then good Lord, like, you know, what's other people may be feeling like. So I think that way we do need to create an access to make people financially literate and give people some sense of empowerment, whatever position they're in.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, arguably what Deborah Meaden and Martin Lewis and all the others, and even Gary Stevenson. I love his podcast too. I don't know if you ever listened.
No.
We'll link to that. Gary's economics. You know, really lovely way of talking, very clear. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
I've got a question because as I was walking here, I was walking through the West End and like walking through all the theatres, and like I sometimes find that like incredibly painful. It's like you've been rejected to work at like an audit a company, or like you have to walk through Canary Wharf and KPMG and
Yeah.
Deloitte after you didn't get an interview. It's like that sort of thing when you know, when you've been in the acting industry. I sat there, sorry, walking here, and I kind of thought like, but I'm really happy with where my life's at. Like I'm never gonna be an incredibly high earner, and like that is facts. Like I'm never gonna earn like mega money because and that's like, it's okay because I love what I do. I'm so passion driven by it. I'm, you know, really proud that I'm making money like off my own
Mm-hmm.
bat anyway. And so I think there's like, I've got a question where it's like, when it comes to money and perspective, like there's some people who chase and chase money, and the more money they have makes them feel better. And some people are like, they reach a ceiling where it's like, I'm really happy with my life. I don't necessarily need to earn this amount of money. Like, what's your views on that? Like balancing money and general happiness? Because obviously one could argue you do need a certain level of money to feel not necessarily happy, but comfortable.
Yeah.
Without
And
making
I guess, if I decided to start work as a yoga teacher and an osteopath and not an investment banker,
Mm.
I'd probably have I'm lucky that I started that way round. So I've got a home and a, you know, pension and those sorts of things. So yes, I think the question of enough is really interesting, and I'm seeing it in things that I read and things that are, being talked about a lot more. Like, how much is enough?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there a number that is enough?
Yeah.
And I would say, now I have, I'm a single mum who's self-employed. I'm, just like you, right? We
Yes.
here, don't we? We're self-employed hustlers as a pair of women. Don't work, don't get paid. Sick, don't get paid. Go on holiday, don't get paid, right? So how much is enough is a really now is a, and at 53, it's a new question for
Yeah.
me coming out of a relationship where there were two of us earning and, corporate job and all that sort of stuff. So it is interesting. And I think it ties into this like big wider thing in the world at the moment, right? Of billionaires and, you know, taxing billionaires or taxing the super wealthy in order that because, the inequality is so much, right? There's a lot of people with very little and there this handful of people with more money than they could possibly know how to spend, right?
Yeah.
So question, what is that? What is enough?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, if you've got kids, you want them to have enough too. So
Yeah.
there's this thing about building some sort of generational wealth that you can then pass down to your children if you're feel fortunate enough to be in that position.
Because that's my thing is I think, oh yeah, I'm really happy like where my life is right now. But then I think I know that, if I was like, I'd love to have children. If there, I feel like there would be a switch where you think, oh, it was fine for me, but oh my gosh, you want to give your kids. I hear that so often that like switch where you go, I want to give them everything and you want to be present for them. And I think as women, that is so hard to balance that. Like you want to give your kids everything, but then you want to also be there with them. So yeah,
It is. I think it's really tricky. This week, I haven't told you this. On Tuesday, I was invited by wonderful BJ, my friend. BJ has got an OBE, MBE. He's only 30. Amazing talent and entrepreneur. And he invited me to an event on a boat at Wapping Pier on a tube strike day from Ealing. So it was a long way away. And then it was that day where it was all thundery and lightning. So like the boat's rocking. But anyway, amazing. Yeah, of course I did. Yeah. And his fiance cooked this amazing spread. But it was a day about steward-led ownership or stewardship as an owner model for businesses. Going to get a bit technical here. The limited company structure was founded in about the 1850s, so it's been around for a really long time, so limited companies. And so those companies, are shareholders, and then there's a board of directors, and the shareholders get dividends, and the people that work there get salary.
okay.
Yeah. And there are these new models of ownership. Well, they're not so new because there are things like cooperatives and stuff like that all along, where ownership is either more distributed. So things like John Lewis, where, every employee is an owner. And so when their dividends paid, everyone gets a cut of the profits of the company. And then moving into this model of stewardship. So you've got your board of directors and you have a layer of a board of stewards who run looking at companies that want to not ever sell, but want to be there for the longer term. They may sometimes doing, sort of more, what's the word, purpose-led work. They want to be passed down through generations. So it was a room full of do-gooders looking at alternative financial structures for company ownership.
Okay.
So really interesting, really interesting. So not just about stripping out the business for as much cash as you can possibly get for the directors or the shareholders, but actually having agreed limits sometimes of how much people can get paid, how much gets reinvested, a more sustainable way of running businesses than perhaps we are.
Yeah.
So capping the enough, essentially.
That's great.
Going back to that. So
Yeah.
Right.
No, but that's very
thoughts about that. About talking about that. Okay,
Yeah, it was
and me, what do you think I waste money on?
really know, to be honest, Angie. I don't think you massively. I think you're quite good with your money. Like, you're really good with the first time I met you when we were at I remember you said this when we were at Glenn Kinsey's course. You said, "Oh, I'm doing this thing at the moment where I'm not buying any new clothes this year. I'm just shopping on Vinted," which is great. But I've never seen you and gone, "Oh my God, you spend money on clothes. Like, you spend money on like too much," or like,
I spend a lot of money on food.
you.
Food shopping. My food shopping bill is
That's like to live.
ordinarily high.
But
It is. Yeah, I do have sons. And also, if the apocalypse comes, I can probably feed you all for a month
true.
because my larder is bursting.
I know what you're gonna say, clothes and like beauty things. I know. I think everyone could say that.
She always looks amazing. I only look like this on days when we're recording.
Anji
Always looks amazing. But you always have a new top. You always have. I've bought you 2 or 3 jumpers since we've known each other. You like a thing, don't you?
I like, I was talking with this guy I'm dating about love languages, and it got on, and I was like, yeah, like, I think like acts of service and communication, and he wanted to gift giving, and he was like, oh, yeah, who cares about gifts? And I was like, yeah, who cares?
Oh, okay. Are you a giver or a taker when it comes to gifts?
Giver.
Giver?
Like, known for it. Like, if you got me in Secret Santa on Show Angel back at Mount View, I take great thrills and challenge in buying someone a present. I thoroughly enjoy it. Just the rush of buying something and giving it to someone. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Okay. And what about receiving something?
Oh, I'll happily have something. No, but I think like most people, I'm a bit awkward, when you receive it because I'm so grateful to have something that I must show you it. Like when you gave me toilet roll at Christmas in our Christmas episode.
I was getting her to act.
Angie, giver or receiver? That sounds bad. I should come to it.
Give. I like giving. No, actually, I'm not very good with presents. I'm not very good with presents. All that
Lovely things.
both ends, at both ends of the spectrum. Number one, because I genuinely think that we've all got enough stuff, right? And so the buying random shit stuff it just upsets me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Buying
I agree.
shit stuff. Don't get me wrong, I've got as many clothes and Vinted purchases. Well, not as the next person because that's you, but yeah. So I don't know, just buying things for things' sake. I don't like it. And then if people buy me a present, I am the Grinch. I am the worst person to buy a present for.
You don't like candles. Don't get
candles.
Don't get Angie
No
a
one's
flipping
bought a
can.
candle for ages. It's my
Yes.
birthday to you.
Put it on the podcast.
But I don't buy. But for Christmas, I got about 85 tubes of hand cream. So I don't need any hand cream, thank you. The cupboard's full. It's my birthday soon. Oh, let's see what happens. But I get that from my mum.
It's your birthday again.
I'm not telling everyone out there.
Nice, and you have
Pretend that's you'll give me a present and I'm your mum.
Yeah, but what's your star?
And I'm my mum.
I really want to know your star sign.
Cancer.
Are you?
Yeah, crabby on the outside, soft on the inside. So pretend to give me a present and I'll be one of my family. Not my boys, but one of my go past.
Okay, so Angie so wait, hang on, let me just get it out. So here it is. I got you this.
How much did that cost? Lovely, thank you. We'll talk about it later.
Oh my God, I just
disintegrate into a pile of the docile response to a gift. So for those of you out there who might be listening who have bought me lovely gifts in the past, I'm really sorry it's been hard conditioned.
This is probably, your son will be thrilled about this, probably where we've differed the most in terms of like, basically Angie's son's like, you need to disagree more.
Okay.
Disagreeing.
Thing is, we agree on a lot of things. Okay. Last question. Last question. How much money have you got in your purse?
My purse?
Like, do you still carry cash?
No.
Is that no? I don't either. And that's a lame question.
I actually I do carry I carry a tenner cash on me in case I get like mugged in London. Like that way, at least I can like.
Okay.
Actually, it's come in useful once when I was in a black cab and he was like, I need bangers and cash. And I was like, don't worry, mate. Yeah.
What do you think about one phrase about money that you think about? That you think about money? And I'll tell you what mine is.
Go on.
I think it's that actually if you're open with money and you give it freely and I'm hoping to believe that you give it freely and it comes back freely. Like love.
You give it freely and it comes back freely.
So don't be tight. There's probably somebody cleverer than me has probably come up with a quote on that is much more. But yeah. But it's the thing that circulates. It's got to circulate. And that's what I've learned.
I think my thing with money is that I don't have necessarily like a quote. I think it's that, my biggest like words of wisdom, I think particularly maybe if like you're like you're 20-something-year-old and you're, not on a corporate ladder and you're having to figure out money yourself, is that, don't be afraid to get educated. Look, like Anji says, look up articles, look up Marshall Lewis and empower yourself. I think it's really empowering when girls, particularly women, can have their own money and autonomy over themselves. Save something for a rainy day. You never know in life. And I personally always like to buy a big issue. I always buy a big issue. Whenever I see a big issue, even if I've already bought one, I always buy one. So always try and give something back as well.
Yes.
So like, good karma as well. Don't,
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Women, girls, educate yourselves. I think it's empowering and cool.
It's cool. So go and sign up for Deborah's thing or whatever else you can find. Let us know what you think. Any lessons about money that you wish you'd known, that would be great as well. So we can share them.
I've got a large response from people saying that I'm too old from the Prodigy, or like too young from the Prodigy episode. I've had
You're too old.
Yeah, that I'm too young. Like, how do I not know what the Prodigy is? I've had a flurry of responses. I literally got a DM on the way here being like, "You don't know what the Prodigy is. This is a joke." So that's probably something that's made me feel too young this week. And something that's made me feel too old is
You only need one.
Yeah,
That was the whole point.
Yeah, the Prodigy response from that episode. People have been outraged, but also thank you for your outrage. It's nice to have.
Although Kim did say that she didn't know who the Prodigy was either.
Kim, thank you. I didn't know who on the Jeremy Clarkson episode last night. I was watching Clarkson's Farm with my family, and I didn't know who the Cause was. The Cause, an Irish band.
The Cause?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the girls, they're like three sisters with long hair.
My parents are like, you can mention that on the podcast. You don't know what the cause is. Angie, too young, too old?
We're too young for this, too old for that moment. 2 weeks ago, just before we were recording, I was on the way on the bus here, and I told you I spoke to this wonderful stranger next to me who was wearing the most amazing lime green glasses, and she was in her 80s, and we just ended up chatting, and I gave her my card, and she's called Anne, and we went out for coffee on Tuesday in Selfridges, the two of us, and she's in her 80s, and we shared all our life stories. We had a wonderful coffee, made a new friend. I'm going to see her again. She had a wonderful story. And so it's not really a too young or a too old moment, but it was definitely a too young for this, too old for that moment, because it was really nice just to meet a random stranger on a random London bus on a random day. And then, we have a new friend.
Big love to Anne.
Big love to Anne. Big love to all of you too. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We've got some cool episodes coming up with some amazing guests. And if you've got any ideas for our next shows, let us know.
Big thanks to our sponsor, Wilfred's, and we will see you next time.
Bye.